This is task 1H. In this task you're asked to produce a test plan for the spreadsheet. Now a test plan is all about a document that you'll give to somebody in the future and say, right, this is what the spreadsheet should do. Could you run through this test plan and see whether it does actually do it? So you're being asked to complete the test plan to show how 3 different formulae in the spreadsheet could be tested. First of all, this is the test plan that you're going to use. So don't use any type of different layout. It must be that specific layout. So this is the exact layout that you were given before. Let's make that a little bit bigger for us. So in here we're going to have our test numbers. We're going to have 3 test numbers. 1, 2, 3. We're only asked for 3 tests. There's no point putting any more because they won't mark anymore. Our type of tests. It asks you to test formulae. You can have valid, invalid or extreme tests. There's no point doing invalid or extreme when we're testing formulae. It all has to be valid data because we're looking at the results of the actual formulae itself. So those will all be valid. Now we've got to decide which formulae we're going to test. Now it says they've got to be different formulae. So different means that we shouldn't be doing the same sort of thing that we've done. So if you'd got, like for example, 2 things where you'd have been asked to put the day of the week, you wouldn't do both of them. In the charges table, if you've done this one, you wouldn't do the replicated copy of it. So we've got to choose which ones we're going to use. Now the ones to do are going to be the easiest functions and formulae possible, and we've got lots of nice easy ones that we can choose here. For example, the first one we could test is the start date, because the start date, sorry, not the start date itself, but the actual day of the start date, because all that is reliant upon is the start date being put in and then we get the result. So what we're going to do is we're going to say what is our description. We're going to test the day for start date. What's our input data value going to be? Right, well, I'm going to choose a different date. I'm going to go for the let's go for the 15th of April. Right, so we'll put 15th of April 2016. So I'll work out manually, I'll look it up in a calendar or in a diary or something, work out manually what would I expect that to be, and I would expect the 15th of April to be a Friday. So just so you know, what the tester would come along and do is they put in here 15th of April 16, what do I expect to see Friday it passes. However, tester could open a spreadsheet and they'll be here. So they need to know which worksheet you're going to be using. So I need to make it very clear that this is day for the start date on proposal worksheet. And I'm going to do that for all of these as well. I also need to know where am I going to put in 15th of April 2016. Well, that's going to be the start date. Otherwise, the tester doesn't know where to put in that data. So start date on proposal worksheet equals 15th of April 2016. So now he knows what to put in. Where's this expected value going to be? Well, it's going to be the day next to the start date on the proposal worksheet will be equal to Friday. Let's do another one. We'll go for the number of years charged. Now this depends on what data we put in both here and here. So it's 2 different values that we put in. So this will be the years charged on the proposal worksheet. What's our input data value going to be? Well, there's going to be 2. First of all, we're going to have our start date on the proposal worksheet. I'm going to go for something completely different now. We'll go for the 5th of July 2018. We also need an end year. So the end year, and we'll go for the on proposal worksheet again. And this time let's go for 2027. Now, what we're doing is we're going to be calculating the years charged. So I'm going to say years charged on the proposal worksheet. Okay, this is what the result will be, and then we've got to work out what it will be. Well, we won't be counting 2018 because we start in 2019. So we're going to have 2019, it's going to be inclusive, 2020, and then we're going to have all of them up to 2027. So again, we should actually expect our answer to be 9. So let's follow this through from a tester point of view. Years charged on the proposal worksheet. Right, so I know that's what we're looking at. Start date on the proposal worksheet, so I know that I've got to put in 5th of the 7th, 18. End year on the proposal worksheet, right, so I know exactly where it's got to go, and the worksheet 2027. Years charged on the proposal worksheet should be equal to 9, and it is. So that's worked really well. Well, why don't we just stick with this data as our input for now, and we'll work on the months that aren't charged. Okay, so we'll focus on months not charged on the proposal worksheet. So we're going to have the same input data, and I'm just going to change that to 2030 actually, so we've got something a little bit different, and we'll change this to June. So we'll go from, we'll go for February. So we'll have 5th of February 2018 to 2030. So we need to work out how many months won't be charged. Well, we would expect it to be the number of complete months that aren't charged. So it would be only one complete month. Remember, I can't just put 1, I've got to say where it will be. So months not charged equals 1. But where is months not charged? Months not charged on the proposal worksheet. Right, so let's look at it from a tester point of view, see if it actually works. 5th of the 2nd, 18 to 2030, months not charged 11. Right, why have I got that wrong? Because I just focused on the month that of January. I forgot to include, look at it from the other point of view, that it's actually February through to December. So I got a little bit of my logic wrong when doing it. So it's always worth looking at it from a tester point of view, because your test plan has to be logically correct. So if it's not logically correct, you can't get the mark for it. So do that and make sure that it's correct. Other things to be aware of. Remember, worksheet in every single cell on this table. Make sure worksheet is mentioned everywhere. Make sure you mention a really good description of what the data is. You can use cell references if you want, so I could change that to be B6. No harm in doing that, it's up to you. There is a reason why we wouldn't put B6 normally, and that's because test plans are normally done during the design stage when you don't actually know what the spreadsheet's going to look like and where it's going to be. So you'd normally put a description in instead of a cell, but it's quite fine for you to put B6 on the proposal worksheet there. Remember, you need to use exact values as well. It's not just good enough here. For example, the end year didn't really matter, so we could have deleted that completely. But here the end year does matter. You can't just say start date on proposal worksheet equals a date in 2018 and end year on proposal worksheet equals 2027. You've got to give precise dates. So make sure that all the input values that are necessary to carry out that calculation are included. That's your test plan, and that is the end of task 1.